All right, so we got Miami at Cincinnati. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites. The total is 47.5. Tua is questionable with his ankle/back injury, air quotes. But who do you like in the captain spot?
So, there's a ton of wide receiver options in this game with Chase, Higgins, Tyreek, Waddle. I'm going Joe Mixon here. I think he's sneaky. He hasn't found much success running the ball this year. He's been getting a lot of volume, just hasn't been getting the yards. But so that could change here. I think he's going to have a pretty big workload, but he has been seeing a lot more receiving work. He had a 64% routes run rate last week, 21% target rate on the year. And the Dolphins just allowed 11 targets to Devin Singletary, 5 to James Cook. So this could be a spot where Mixon could get 4 more receptions, 20 or more carries. So this could be a potential high volume game where, Mixon gets a touchdown or 2 and he kind of ruins the slate with everybody having receivers, as they should attack receiver in the slot. So I think just based on this game, Joe Mixon is probably my optimal captain play, but you can't go wrong with any of the receivers in this game.
Yeah, it's hopefully it's Joe Mixon getting the pass catching work and not our boy Samaje Perine.
Well, he ate up the garbage time on the ground and outproduced Mixon with just a handful of carries, but that was more garbage time. I'm chalking it up to that.
Yeah, it's weird. Mixon just, for whatever reason, they just haven't had success against light boxes, which is odd because that's kind of what most teams are going to have the most success against. But I saw a statistic that I think they're last in per carry average against light boxes. So hopefully he's due for some regression in that aspect. I'm going with Jamar Chase. Love the matchup for him. Somewhat quiet game, got bailed out by the touchdown last week against the Jets, but Miami is a man coverage team because they love to blitz, and Jamar Chase just wrecks man coverage in his career. I mean, he's just one of the best in the world. He's averaging about 3 yards per route run against man in his career compared to 2.4 against zone, which is elite in itself. But Miami tends to play more man than most. They're 5th in man coverage rate this season. So expecting a big yardage game for Jamar Chase in this one. So he'll be my captain.
Yeah, love that call. And just as always with the Bengals, like whenever they play a heavy man coverage team that's Jamar Chase, zone heavy, that's when we like to go T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, did you see those catches he was making last week?
Oh, my God. Well, he's just getting beat up, man. I was worried. I thought he got his 2nd concussion of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just a grinder, though, but he is playing through some pain. He's taking some shots. But luckily, he was able to come back into the game. Thank God it wasn't a concussion. But, yeah, he's a man, all right. Like, he is a beast.
Who you got for dart throws?
All right, so off the rip, I tweeted this to you a couple weeks ago. I said, for this matchup, I called dibs on Alec Ingold. So I'm taking him here. He's a dart throw. He's the fullback extraordinaire for this game. And he's sort of playing the Kyle Juszczyk role in this Mike McDaniel's scheme that he's taking over from him from the Niners. So, Alec Ingold, he's averaging about 25% routes run a game, a healthy 18.5% target rate for a fullback with an ADOT of 10.5. So he's literally Kyle Juszczyk. So we could see a couple, deeper receptions from him, maybe a vulture goal line carry. So I love him here in this spot. Of all fullbacks, he's my favorite so far. And then, I think just sticking with the Dolphins, Raheem Mostert is sneaky as well. He sort of forced a 50-50 committee with Chase Edmonds in both the running and passing game. So he's a home run threat, perfect for a showdown slate. So love him. And then on the Bengals side, we'll have to monitor Hayden Hurst. He's dealing with a growing injury. That's why he was limited last week. But the first 2 weeks, I was all over Hurst heading into the season. He saw a massive usage rate weeks 1 and 2. He was running around 82% of Joe Burrow's drop back. So he has that CJ Uzoma high ceiling, low floor kind of role. So he'd be a perfect kind of showdown slate option, but he's going to have to be closer to 100% for me to really trust him this week. But he's a sneaky dart throw as well.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Mostert's not only kind of getting a 50 split in that running game, but in that passing game too, which is surprising. Just based on like his career usage in that aspect. For me, I'm going to go with Trent Sherfield on the Dolphins. He ran around on 77% of the dropbacks last week. Now, Cedric Wilson Jr. was active, but he only played a couple of snaps, and that's why Sherfield saw a spike. But it's still a short week, and Wilson is dealing with a rib injury. So I still don't know if he gets a full workload. And, him and Sherfield had kind of been splitting snaps even before then. The disparity wasn't too great between him and the 3 and 4 receiver. It was Wilson was getting about 45% of the routes per dropback, and Sherfield was getting about 30. So more than most guys in that dart throw range are going to get. So give me some Trent Sherfield for the Dolphins. And on the Bengals side, I mean, it really is. It's hard to take anyone until we know what's going to happen with Hurst. But yeah, if he's out, I would go Mitchell Wilcox. He was the guy that kind of spiked in usage last week with Hurst banged up, ran around on 31% of the dropbacks.
Yeah, and it looks like Waddle's dealing with the groin injury as well. I bet he'll play, but it's a short week, so these injuries can, really screw over, a Thursday night game. But like if Waddle is ruled out, presumably, like who do you think would step up?
I mean, it would have to be. You would think it would be Wilson, but if he's not healthy, I mean, it's going to have to be Sherfield, and I guess they would use they already used their 3 elevations on River Craycraft.
Oh, they did.
So they would either have to sign him to the active roster. I did read a quote from the coach, the offensive coordinator for Miami, that said they don't want to play Eric Ezukanma until is that how I pronounce it?
I have no idea, but I know he's good. Like he's solid. He's obviously, he's a rookie. But what were they saying? They don't want to start him until when?
They don't want to play him. Like they don't want to play him until he learns the offense or something. So I would think that it would either be like some random free agent, or it would just be like Sherfield and Wilson, or they call up Craig, or they just sign Craycraft to the active roster. So that's something to monitor, obviously. But from what it sounds like, it doesn't sound like the rookie is going to play either way. So I mean, things could always change, especially if their hand is forced. But as of now, it doesn't look like it. So yeah, I'll stick with Sherfield.
And how about the tight end situation? Who do you have projected for more points, Mike Gesicki or Durham Smythe?
I still got Smythe, but the gap is closing. Smythe ran around on 45% of the dropbacks last week, and Gesicki only 32. Now, they did not have many dropbacks last week, so the sample is not for the season. It's about 50% for Gesicki, 35% for Smythe. So I have, that's pretty much how I have it projected out this week. So, but Gesicki's my tight end 28, so not really not really expecting too much from him.
Can't trust that guy anymore.
Yeah, the fall has been massive. Although if Waddle is out, maybe he's a slot receiver. So
that's true. If Waddle's out, maybe they do put Gesicki in his old role.
Yeah, so that is something to monitor.
Yeah.